Hey people, this is John, host of Video Games in the World. Now, we all know that nowadays in movies and TV shows there has been so many reboots. And a lot of people are complaining that people do not think so much about making anything original anymore. That it's just, they want to reboot shows and movies from like the 80s, the 90s, or the 1970s just to appease to the modern generation. But although some of these reboots turned out to be okay, a lot of them were not so great, or pretty much sucked. For example, in terms of movies, so many reboots sucked. Like I remember Rob Zombie's Halloween, which was a train wreck. Not to mention also that Day of the Dead, the 2008 remake of the 1985 movie, was also a train wreck, and it sucked. And also, Friday the 13th, people didn't like it. Nightmare on Elm Street, it sucked. Evil Dead, the remake, nobody saw that. Total Recall, people hated it. RoboCop, people hated it. But man, not to mention also the 2016 Ghostbusters, which some people liked it, but it was so lambasted for a lot of reasons. The Tim Burton Planet of the Apes movie, it was lambasted for being horrible. But the new Planet of the Apes trilogy reboot, that one was pretty solid. Okay, but enough of that. So, if you were a kid during the 1990s, we all remember all these Disney cartoons in the afternoon from the Disney Channel and a lot of other channels as well. Yeah, we all had Kids WB, we had cartoons in Cartoon Network in the 90s. And also, but what I really enjoyed about the Disney Channel when I was a kid growing up was the TV show Gargoyles. That's right. Gargoyles is one of my most favorite TV shows when I was a kid. It was created by Greg Weisman, who created two of the best animated superhero cartoons, The Spectacular Spider-Man and the one and only Young Justice. Gargoyles is about of nocturnal creatures that turn into stone-like state during the day. After spending 1,000 years in their petrified state due to a spell, the Gargoyles reawaken in modern-day New York City after being transported from Scotland. They take on roles as the city's secret nighttime guardians and befriend NYPD detective Eliza Maza, who helps the Gargoyles get up to speed with modern times. It lasted for 3 seasons, and it was pretty dark and had a complex story arc. And there were also great 1990s cartoons like Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, and also stuff like Animaniacs and many more. So yeah, Animaniacs is also getting a reboot. They're planning to make a reboot. And hopefully they don't mess it up the way they did it Teen Titans with that piece of crap cartoon, Teen Titans Go. But the DuckTales reboot, that one was pretty solid. So Gargoyles used a lot of melodrama with character arcs and was heavily utilized throughout the series, as well as Shakespearean themes. As a matter of fact, many of the show's main and recurring characters are based on characters from Shakespeare plays, including Oberon, Macbeth, and Puck. The story arcs and characters presented in Gargoyles will be great to see in a live-action movie, according to this article, but if they make a live-action movie of Gargoyles, please, don't bring Michael Bay into this. He'll butcher it like he did the Ninja Turtles and Transformers. However, Gargoyles is a property of Disney, and they have been doing well with Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar franchises. But who knows if they adapt the show as well? As long as they don't make it too PC, of course. Of course, one of my most favorite villains in Gargoyles is Demona. So badass. and so troubled in a certain way because she hates the humans for what they did to her kind. And Goliath was more tolerant of humans because he knows that humanity is a violent species, and it's in their nature to fear what they don't understand. But Elisa Massa, who is a cop, she was more tolerant of the Gargoyles, and she realized that they are not bad, despite their monstrous looking forms. She is a cop, a detective who is dutiful, and she grows into a hero as the show progresses. And she's still flawed, who is selfish and stubborn at times. She is accepting of the Gargoyles even though they are inhuman. And I remember this one time, I remember her disguised as Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Great Easter egg, by the way. Now, Elisa has experienced prejudices of her own due to her mixed heritage. On the side of her mom, Elisa is African American, and on her father's side, she's Native American. And yeah, Demona starts out as a kind gargoyle, as they said, but she becomes bad because she hates humans because of what happened many years ago. I also enjoyed the character of Angela as well, and the relationships were phenomenal. And what I also really enjoyed is how some actors from Star Trek: The Next Generation were there. For example, Jonathan Frakes played David Xanatos, and also Marina Sirtis, who played as Jonathan Frakes' love interest in The Next Generation, Deanna Troi, plays as Demona. And I really enjoyed the voice acting, everything that there is to join about Gargoyles. So if there's a Gargoyles reboot someday, let's just hope they make it right. And try not to be too appeasing of the sensitivity crowd. So remember, folks, if you have something to say about this thing with Gargoyles possibly getting a reboot, just comment, rate, share with everyone you know, subscribe, and support me on Patreon due to this apocalypse that's been going on YouTube. So this is John, host of Video Games in the World. Have a good one. Bye-bye.